Shalom and welcome to Yeshiva B'nai Noach. I'm Tom Averna. This is the Beginning Biblical Hebrew course. As we continue with a brand new chapter, chapter 16 from the first Hebrew primer, Prepositions with Pronoun Endings. This is the chapter review. Starting out with the oral review, we'll read the Hebrew first and then translate. Ahavti et avi v'et imi. Yosef ahav et kiso asher betoch beto. Ahavta et kavod melchecha v'et kavod artzecha. Ahavnu et tzonenu ach lo ahavnu et behemtenu. Translating, I loved my father and my mother. Joseph loved his seat that was within his house. You loved the honor of your king and the honor of your land. We loved our flocks, but we did not love our cattle. Number 2, Hem Yatsu Migvul Artsenu Visham Shafto et Kol Amenu. Leah Tetze Mitoch Beta Hakatan Viaz Tochal et Besara Viet Lachma. Tzoni Yatsa Mitoch Mekomenu Lifnei Ene Kol Amenu. Avraham Yetze Me Artso Im Mincha Le Ishto. So they went out from the border of our land, and there they judged all our people. Leah will go out from within her house, her small house, and then she will eat her meat and her bread. A herd of sheep or goats went out from within our place before the eyes of all our people. Abraham will go out from his land with a gift for his wife. Number 3. Eshpat et minchat tzonecha lifnei einecha. Yosef shafat bein achiv uvein aviv. Tishpat mi hakatan mitzonecha. HaKohen yishpat mimkomo bekisei hakavod. So I will judge the gift of your herd before your eyes. Joseph judged between his brother and between his father. You will judge who is the smallest one from your herd. The priest will judge from his place on the throne of honor. Number 4. Ra'ita et kavod beit avicha betoch Yerushalayim Sham'a imecha et kolech v'et divarech. Ra'inu et basar behemto asher lekach Yerushalayim Yerushalama keminchato. Sham'u ha-sarim et kolchem v'hem ra'u et artsechem. You saw the honor of the house of your father within Jerusalem. Your mother heard your voice and your words. We saw the meat of his cattle that he took to Jerusalem or toward Jerusalem as his offering. The commanders heard your voice and they saw your land. Number 5. B'ni yizkor et shmi le'olam. Tizkor et nefesh avicha v'et ruach imecha. Zikartem et kol kasvechem asher mitachat ad matechem. Zakarta b'kol levavcha uvchol nafshecha et kol divrei Toratecha. My son will remember my name forever. You will remember the soul of your father and the spirit of your mother. You remembered all of your silver that was from under your ground, under your land, your earth. You remembered with all your heart and with all your soul all the words of your Torah or your instruction. So now taking a look at the vocabulary for chapter 16, and don't forget this vocabulary is up on Quizlet in flashcard form, so give you an opportunity to study there, or you can make your own flashcards, or you can purchase the flashcards that First Hebrew Primer puts out. But at any rate, these are the words you're going to be studying for chapter 16. So, achar, acharei, after or behind. El, to or toward. Et, direct object marker. And yes, these are in many cases repeats of words you've already had. Again, this chapter dealing with adjectives, so we'll be focusing on those or prepositions. All right, continuing. Be, in, on, with. Bein, between or among. Betoch, in word pair form, in the midst of or within. Tachat, under or instead of. Kamo, like or as, just as the kaf by itself is the same thing as an inseparable preposition. Le, to or for. Lifne, before or in front of. Min, me and may, all meaning from. Mean by itself as an inseparable preposition, me or may, can appear in front of a noun. Mitoch, again related to betoch, and we just learned mem is from, so this is in the midst of, so this is from the midst of, or from within, or out of. Al, upon, about, on, or over, or above. So we talked about before, El Al Airlines, named with this adjective. Im, with the ayin as the first letter, im is with. So the first thing your chapter talks about, page 151, direct object pronouns. A direct object pronoun is used to replace a noun as the direct object of a verb. So as opposed to subject pronouns, this would be the pronoun that would appear at the end of a sentence in English as the object of the subject. So in English, the direct object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. So direct object pronouns in Hebrew are formed from the direct object marker. So here's where it becomes a little tricky. The direct object marker, you know, is et. Right? But with the added pronomial forms, it changes from et to ot or oat. Notice the same word, ot, one with the vav underneath it, a cholem vav, vowel, or without the vav and just the cholem, the o sound. Both pronounced the same, ot, and either one can appear and take a pronomial form, which we're going to learn here in a minute. Okay, so just be aware that et changes to ot, but this is still the direct object marker. So what follows this is the direct object. So when you add the pronoun to this, it means that that is the object. The pronoun is the object when you add the endings. Okay? So here is the chart on page 151 for the object pronoun. And this is something that you want to spend some time with and take a look at. But again, please notice the patterns. The patterns. You've seen this pattern before. The yud ending is me. Everything that has a kaf, either a kaf sofit or a kaf regular or chaf. Okay, everything that has that is you in some form or other. And then the O at the end. Actually, let me get my marker here. Pointer. So again, E, or the yod ending, is me, as opposed to he, because we're dealing with the object pronoun. So he gave me being the object. Then the cha is you. Remember that ta means you with a verb. But again, the kaf endings, this is you masculine singular. The kaf with just the shava ending is you feminine singular. So the king gave you. The king gave you. The O or a vav is sometimes can be a vav without the vowel marker, but the cholem vav, the O sound, is him or it. And the hey sound is her or it. Notice that in front of all of those endings can either be ot or ot, with or without the vav in it. Okay. In the plural forms, nu, which should sound very familiar to you. Again, chem and chen, you masculine, you feminine. The kaf ending always has to do with you. Mem is a masculine ending. Nun is a feminine ending. So again, look at the patterns. Be familiar with the patterns. And then the same thing with them masculine and them feminine. Right? Am and on. So just as here you have the chem, the mem ending with a chaf, here you have the mem ending only with the kamat, only with am. Okay? Okay, and on here. All right, so that's what you want to look for. You want to look at those patterns. And all of this will be up on, or is up on Google Docs as a handout. So if you need, and it's also, of course, in your books. But if you want to print the handout, then that's available to you. So now let's use them in sentences here. And these sentences can be found on page 152. Object pronouns, this is how it works. Hu zachar et ha'av. So he remembered the father. Okay, et your direct object marker when you have a definite noun. And hu zachar oto. He remembered him. Now, the reason that the object marker is used in all of these pronouns is when the object of a pronoun is referenced, it is a definite person, definite him. It's a definite person, place, or thing. So that's why you use the direct object marker here. But anyway, he remembered him, oto. Zacharti et imi. I remembered my mother. Zakarti ota. I remembered her. So there's your pronominal ending for her as an object in the sentence. Notice the dagesh. We'll mention this again, but notice the dagesh. It is there to distinguish this hey from a hey ending that might simply indicate a feminine form. But this is the hey of the object pronoun. So that dagesh will almost always be there, not always. Zakarta et habanim. You remembered the sons. Zakarta otam. You remembered them. If this had been Zakarta et habanot, you remembered the daughters, then this would be Zakarta otan with a nun ending here. You remembered them feminine. All right? So always this has to match the reference, the possessor. All right, Haim zachru oti. They remembered me. Haim zachru otanu. They remembered us. And zakarnu otcha. We remembered you. And the note here, there really isn't an example, but just to remind yourself, there is no it in Hebrew. So if the subject, the you that we're talking about here, if that was actually we remembered Jerusalem, then you would say we remembered it rather than you. Okay, pronoun has to match the gender and number of the noun. So it's always going to be masculine or feminine, but you feel free to translate it when appropriate in that place. Okay. So we saw that the direct object marker can take the pronominal endings, but so can prepositions. The inseparable prepositions that we've learned, they can take pronoun endings, whether they're just by themselves or a separate word. So we'll take a look at that here in just a minute on the handout, and it's also in your book. Inseparables take much the same endings as possessive nouns. So many word prepositions use endings similar to ach and av. Again, take note of your chart handout, both in the book and as a handout. And that'll be on page 152. So a general reminder, look for patterns, okay? So reading this left to right, remember that the yad is a masculine ending. It's a first person ending. Can mean me in this case, or sometimes it means I, but I or me. Okay, if it's a vav ending, or it could be an u ending, or it could be an o ending, any three of these, if it's attached to a direct object marker or a noun or a preposition, all of those things, it's going to mean him, because again, it's the possessive form. Him. And then note that chaf or chaf sofit can take any of the you forms listed down here. You masculine singular would be cha, you feminine singular would be che, you masculine plural would be chem, you feminine plural would be chen. Okay? And then hey, generally with a dagesh in here, within in the consonant, is going to mean her. Nu, which can mean we, but as a possessive ending means us or our. All right, and then lastly, they, masculine, is a mem or a nun ending. You might also see a hem or a hen ending on it. We'll see that as we get to the charts here in just a minute. So again, just keep in mind the patterns. That's what you want to try and remember, is pick up these patterns, get them solid in your mind. And you'll see them over and over and over again, and that will make them much more familiar to you. So now let's take a look at the charts in your book, page 153. Inseparable prepositions as well as regular prepositions. The inseparable preposition here, in, on, or with. In me. In you. In you, in him, in her, in us, in you masculine plural, in you feminine plural, in them, either hem or by itself, bam, in them masculine plural, behan rather, would be in them feminine plural. So same endings if you have a preposition that's a word by itself. Im, with, imi, with me, imcha, with you, imach, with you, imo, with him, ima, with her, imanu, with us, imachem, with you, masculine plural, imachen, with you, feminine plural, imahem or imam, with them, imahen or iman, with them, feminine plural. So now let's take a look at two more prepositions, one inseparable, one a word. Well, I'm sorry, this is the inseparable preposition lamed, 2 or 4. So li, to me, lecha, to you, lach, to you feminine, lo, to him, la, to her, lanu, to us, lachem, to you, masculine plural, lachen, to you, feminine plural, lahem, to them, masculine, lahen, to them, feminine. Note this lo here because it might throw you. It's thrown me before. And you might want to translate this as no. Remember that the word for no has an aleph at the end of it. Lo is no. So this is not the same as this. When you see this, it's to him or for him. All right, so just make that mental note. The sentences that are given here as an example. Ha'ish shalach et Yosef imo. So the man sent, who did he send? He sent Joseph with him. Hine kali im lechem bo. Here is a vessel with bread in him, but of course that's going to not make sense, so you translate it as in it, with bread in it. But it has to match the word that it's possessing, or that it's the possessive of. In it is referring to in the vessel. The vessel is masculine, singular, so the ending is masculine, singular. Okay, Yaakov zachar oti ad olam. Jacob remembered me forever, ad olam. More adjective forms to remember. Upon, al, upon, about, on, or over. So alai, there's your yud ending, upon me. Alecha, upon you. So many vowel changes here, but this is what you're looking for, is the ending. Alecha, and recognize the adjective. Alecha, upon you. Alecha, alayich, alayich, upon you, feminine, singular. Alive, alive. Now, so this is normally an oo sound, but it can be a vav. And notice that it indeed is in this case. This still means him. So upon him. Aleha. Now, this doesn't have the dagesh in it, so that might throw you. But you don't normally see the kamatz under the last letter, with a few exceptions, but you don't normally see that. So that is your clue here. So aleha is upon her. Aleinu, upon us. Alechem, upon you. Alechen, upon you. Alehem and alehen, them, masculine and feminine. Same basic format, conjugation for el. Elai, to me. Elecha, to you. Elayich, to you, feminine. Elaiv, again the vav ending here. Eleha, and the kamatz under the hay, to her. Elenu, elechem, elechen, elehem, elehen. So here are two adjectives to take note of. Because they have the yud ending. Remember that we said when when you have a verb that begins with a letter that is also one of the prefixes, that letter will often drop out, such as the aleph when it's in the first person. So you have a similar kind of situation here. So acharei means after, but with the pronominal object, it looks the same, but the vowels change. So they're really, again, if you didn't have vowels, and if you don't remember the vowels, which I'm not saying that you have to, this can get a little confusing. So you do want to make sure you note this in your mind, that yod ending for any adjective that ends in yod, if it's in a situation in a sentence where you can pretty much guess that you have a pronominal word or pronoun that needs to be inserted there, that tells you which pronoun it is. So acharai as opposed to acharei. Again, you may not remember the vowels, and that's okay, but this might throw you, but just be aware of it so it doesn't. So this would be any adjective that ends in a yud. And the same thing, I suppose, if you had an adjective that ended in a hey or a vav, those are the same kinds of things you'd have to look for. All right, so anyway, let's go through it. Acharai, after me. Acharecha, after you. Acharayich, after you. Acharaiv, after him. Achareha, after her. Acharenu, after us. Acharechem, acharechen, acharehem, acharehen. Same conjugation over here. Lifnei or lefanai. Lefanai. Okay. So that would be, it ends in a yud. Here is the pronominal, so before me. All right, and then just go through all of these same way. Okay. So on page 155, here's another pronoun, or preposition, I should say, that can also throw you, and here's why. So min means from, but it could also be just the mem by itself as an inseparable preposition. So adding the pronominal endings, then the mem doubles. The mem doubles. So that can throw you. So just make note of that. You don't have to make note of the things that are standard. You just have to look for patterns. But when those patterns are broken, not the same, then that's what you have to look for. But the endings are still going to be the same. So mi, me, ni is from me. Mimcha, from you. Mimecha, or mimech, from you, feminine. Mimenu, from him. Mimena, from her. Here you have neither the dagesh nor the kamatz ending to remind you. So this one gets a little tricky. Okay, and then menu is from us. Now, all of the singulars plus first person plural all do the doubling thing. Right? But then it reverts back to the singular mem. So mikem, miken, mayhem, mayhen. Right? So the sentences we have here. Shalachti alehem lechem. I sent to them bread, or I sent bread to them. So this one also, just to point it out, alehem can also throw you. in the sense that you see the L here and you want to make that Elohim, or the name for God. And in this case, of course, it is not. So Elohim, just be careful. There's no Elohim. There's no name of God that's spelled this way. So Elohim is to them. El to hem them. David halach lefanaiv u Moshe acharaiv. David went before him, and Moses after him. Yosef lekach mimenu kesef. Joseph took silver from us. So David, something else to note here. Mimenu, if you're looking at it, could be him, or it could be us. Memenu, from him, and memenu, from us. So him or us. So that's another thing to make note of here. Just have to look at the context. If there is no context, pick one. Rachel Shama'a Alive Mimeni. So Rachel heard about him from me. And then last one here, Hu yatsa mimcha u me'artzacha. He went out from your land. So he went out from your land. I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. He went out from you and your land. So from you and your land. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the next interesting section here, segment. Have in Hebrew, so it uses the inseparable preposition lamed before a noun or in noun sentences. And I'm going to review all of this again here and as soon as we get through it. But let's just get through it. So there's another thing with the inseparable preposition, which is to or for. So literally, here's the example. La Avraham banim. So to Abraham, were sons. So the better way to say that is Abraham, and then just, if the lamed is in front of a noun, okay, and there's no other verb in here, this is only for a noun sentence, then you could also, if it doesn't make sense any other way, then try it by saying the noun first, the subject first. So Abraham, and then just make this a have or a has, or had. Actually, if it's a noun sentence, it would have to be present tense. So Abraham has sons. Abraham has sons. Lanu bain. So literally, to us, a son. We have a son. So if you translate it literally, it doesn't make sense. Then just remember that lamed can also be the present tense verb have in a noun sentence. And to make it just a little bit more confusing, you might also see the word yesh in a noun sentence. We're just dealing with noun sentences here, not verb sentences. But again, you see the lamed, and if you translate this literally, there are to Abraham sons. So here you don't put a verb in here, but the yesh is there are. So you listen to that, and that, I mean, it makes sense. It can stand sort of by itself. There are to Abraham sons, but when you hear that, it should trigger something that doesn't sound exactly right in the translation. So instead, Abraham has sons. So in this case, you kind of ignore the yesh and do the same rule that we gave you in the previous slide. So Abraham has sons. Yesh lanu ben, there is to us a son, or we have a son. So the whole point here is you're going to want to ignore the yesh, as you translate it. Doesn't mean it's unimportant. It obviously is. In Torah, at any rate, there's nothing that is by accident. It's an emphasis word. But when translating it, we don't need to say that in English. But it also is another reason to learn the Hebrew, because it shows you that there's an emphasis that's being put here, where you don't necessarily see that emphasis when you translate "we have a son," as opposed to "there is to us a son." Okay? So now, again, we've sort of learned this before with noun sentences. So, not have in a noun sentence would be using the negative, ein. So here you have yesh. Remember, yesh and ein are the two words that you use in noun sentences. There is or there is not. There are or there are not. Ein is the negative. So if we do this, ein le'Avraham banim, there are not to Abraham sons. Abraham does not have sons. Just like the yesh, you ignore the ein, other than it makes it negative. But you're going to just simply translate the lamed as have or has. So in the negative, it would be does not have sons, or has no sons. Abraham has no sons. Okay. Ein lanu ben, there is not to us a son. Could be we have no sons, or we don't have a son, or we have no son. We have no son. All right. Sort of intuitive. Just have to think it through as you're translating. And translations just take a while sometimes. So now, what if we have a verb sentence? Okay. The verb sentence, we're still going to use the preposition lamed. So that's going to stay true in all of these examples. The preposition lamed in front of the noun. But now we have a verb form. And that verb form is now going to give us a tense, future or past. So that's the biggest difference here, is that we now have a tense. So, hayu le'Avraham banim, there were to Abraham sons. or Abraham had, as opposed to has or have. Abraham had sons. Hayu lo banim, the form lo. So again, this is not the word no, but there were to him sons, okay, or he had sons. Sort of ignoring the verb, but you're recognizing that that verb gives you a tense. Haya lanu bain. There was to us a son. We had a son. Haita lanu bat. There was to us a daughter. We had a daughter. So that's the perfect tense. Now let's take a look at the imperfect. Same exact configuration, conjugation, understanding. This verb gives you tense, but other than that, you're sort of going to ignore it. So, Yehu la'Avraham banim. There will be to Abraham sons. Abraham will have sons. Yehu lo banim. There will be to him sons. He will have sons. Yeh lanu bain. There will be to us a son. We will have a son. Or tihyeh lanu bat. There will be to us a daughter. We will have a daughter. Just remember that in this case, you're essentially only going to translate this verb for tense. If it's in the imperfect tense, the future tense, you see the prefix. And again, you can kind of ignore it. I mean, if you're writing it out, you have to know that this matches. Okay, this matches the gender and number that it's connected to. But as far as a verb sentence using the lamed, you kind of ignore that if you're just reading it, and you only take the tense from it. This is future tense, so that's what you're translating here as will have rather than has or had or had rather than had. Okay, so sort of simple. Okay, the word lo is added in the perfect and imperfect to express the lack of possession. So lo, as opposed to ain, which we used for the noun sentences, lo would give you the negative on that. And here are the examples for that. So have not with the to be verb. The word lo is added in the perfect and imperfect to express have not. So lo yehu la'Avraham banim. There will not be to Abraham sons. Abraham will not have sons, etc. So the only thing you're using the lo for here is to go from have to have not. Just recognize that. Okay. Again, if you translate this word for word, it will give you the sense of the sentence. Just remember that to translate it into English, you want to change things around a little bit. Okay? So that is the have use in Hebrew. So let's review all of that in one section here. Hopefully this will help a little bit. So in a noun sentence, a lamed before the noun or pronoun doing the possessing is translated as have or has. Plain and simple. Have or has. To negate it in a noun sentence, use ein. In a verb sentence, exactly the same thing. The preposition lamed before the noun or pronoun doing the possessing is have or has. But you then take the form of the verb to be and take the tense of that, changing have or has to had or will have. The form of the verb must match whatever is possessed in gender and number. So to negate, you use lo before the verb, which would translate as did not have or will not have. All right, so that's, in a nutshell, that whole section. A little confusing, I know, but as you practice this with the exercises, it'll become a lot clearer. Just pay attention. I mean, just translate as you normally would. You're not supposed to automatically recognize these things right away. So you're translating the sentence and it doesn't make sense. So now you have to start asking yourself, what else do I know here? What else can I reference here? And that's, again, you'll get practice specifically dealing with these subjects in the exercises coming up. So that gives you practice. As you move away from the exercises, you just have to remind yourself from time to time of all of these kind of rules and things that are different by reviewing your rules, reviewing your vocabulary. You can't let it go until it's second nature to you, and that may not come for many years. So just take time with yourself, be patient with yourself. You are learning a new language. Keep reminding yourself of that. Remind yourself of how long it took you to learn whatever your native language is. It didn't happen overnight. It took years and years to become good at it. It will take years and years to become good at Hebrew. Hopefully, at least in my mind, the hope is that Mashiach will come back long before then, long before those years are up, and we'll all have an intuitive remembrance of the Hebrew language. May not have to struggle quite as hard. But in the meantime, it's good to struggle because it enables us to spend more time studying Torah, which is really what this is all about. So as you begin to see all of these rules and situations that you're dealing with, and you're looking at Torah and you're saying to yourself, oh, all right, well, there's a yesh here. There's an emphasis that I wouldn't get just from the translation. That's important. Those are the kinds of things I want you to start noticing when you're studying Torah and looking at the Hebrew as well as the English translation. And in many cases, you'll say to yourself, why on earth did they translate it this way? And that's the problem with translations. Okay, so let's go ahead and close out this chapter. Review for prepositions with pronoun endings. And we'll start with the exercises. This will definitely be a 3-video exercise situation. So be aware of that, and we'll see how much longer we'll continue with the three exercise videos. But for now, we'll do that with certainly with chapter 16. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for joining me for this review for chapter 16, the First Hebrew Primer, 3rd edition. For Yeshiva B'nai Noach, I'm Tom Averna. Shalom.